Alright, here to give you another Walking Dead review. So this one is Season 4, Episode 9. And it's called After. Makes sense. This is after everything that the prison got destroyed and everything like that. And it came out on February 9th, 2014. So this is when it was on its break period. This was good. I like this. Not a lot really happened, and I wasn't expecting it to, but yet at the same time, there was some big things that happened. So it kicks off with Michonne. She's back at the prison. It even showed to the destruction of the prison. The governor, Philip, dead. And Michonne goes in, kills a couple of walkers, and uses them like she did before, how she had them on the back and stuff. And then Herschel's head had turned, because a head can turn into a zombie as well, and she kills it. And that's how and then it cut to the theme song, and it wasn't really a lot, but it happened at first, but I guess they wanted to save the big stuff for later. So then, it cut in the first scene. Rick and Carl are walking, and Rick can barely walk. Rick's pretty beat up. I mean, he has a bruised hand. He's limping now, and I think he has like a black eye, like he can't even open one of his eyes, and he's all injured. And Rick and Carl aren't really seeing eye to eye. Rick tells Carl to stop, and he won't stop, and he finally does, and he says, look, I know everything's gonna be just," and I think he was gonna say just fine, but I don't even think he believed it, so he didn't say it. And then they go into they're gonna find some food, and they go into a place, and they search, and Rick's just gonna go in there by himself. And have Carl keep watch. And Carl's like, "Are you serious? You're crazy. You can barely stand. You're beat up." He's like, "We're doing this together." So they do, and Rick and Carl come across a walker, and Carl was gonna shoot it, but Rick says, "No, we gotta save our ammo." So he grabs an axe and he chops it in the head, but I think he's so hurt that he can't even pull it out of its head. So Carl kills him and shoots it himself. And Rick gets pissed about it, saying, "You just wasted a bullet that we could need later on." And Carl was like, "But the axe wasn't getting the job done." So then he even left a note saying, "Please do what I didn't have the heart to do." So then they leave, and then they cut to Michonne, and she's walking with the walkers, following Rick and Carl's tracks, and then it shows them. Well, it shows Rick and Carl. They find a house, and they go inside of it, and they're still on seeing eye to eye. Even when they were walking, Rick was saying, "Hey, hey," and Carl wouldn't even answer him. And then what happens next is they're even going around the rooms looking for walkers, and Rick is telling Carl, because he's not really looking that hard, and Carl's like, "Well, they wouldn't come out of the doors if they were open." So then he starts swearing, and Rick's like, "Watch your mouth." And yeah, they're just really aren't getting along right now. Carl is very unhappy. And what happens next? Carl goes upstairs, and he doesn't see anything. And they get some food. Rick wants him to eat it, but Carl won't even eat it because he wants to save the food supply for later on. And they even tied the door so the walkers couldn't get in. And Rick was gonna move the sofa, and Carl was like, "Hey, I tied the door. They can't even get in." Um, and then Rick was like, how'd you learn how to do that? And it was like, Shane taught me. Remember him? And Rick was like, yeah, I remember Shane. Is there anything else you want to tell me? And he doesn't say anything. So then they post the sofa there, and I guess that hurt Rick's hand because he couldn't even move it. Well, arm, anyways. Um, and then eventually, Rick goes upstairs and I guess unchanges and stuff. So then what happens next? Rick, no, I'm gonna Michonne. It shows Michonne, and this. I didn't know what this was at first, cause it didn't even feel like it was like in the present time because she was in a house, and she was in like a pretty nice house actually. And she was cutting stuff, and she wasn't dressed how she normally was. She was kind of dressed like a lady, and she's cutting all this stuff, and Mike, who was someone she knew. I don't know who Mike is. I don't even remember this that much, but I think they were having a conversation about what was going on with the walkers, how they didn't want to have his son be out there with the dead, and then she offers her food and she offers to open the wine, and then we see that the hands they're like dead, their hands are cut off, and they have no mouths, and it was all a dream. It was a bad dream, so that made more sense. Um, and it becomes a recurring thing. Later on, Michonne's walking in the woods and sees a walker that looked like herself, which I thought was hilarious. Um, and then when she looks again, it's just a regular walker. So thought that was awesome. So then the next morning, Carl wakes up, but Rick doesn't. Um, he's really weak, um, probably because of the beating that Philip gave him. And Carl tries to wake him up, but it doesn't work. So then what happens is two walkers try to break in, and Carl lures them away, and he's doing a pretty good job of it until he comes across another one. And he gets in trouble for a little bit, but he ends up shooting all of them and killing them. And then he throws up afterwards. And then he goes back to the house, um, and then he just trashes them. He's like, "I did more. I lured three walkers and killed all of them, and you are supposed to be the leader. If you had taken care of the governor in the first place, none of this would happen. You were a terrible leader. You couldn't take care of Glenn. You couldn't take care of Judith. You couldn't take care of Mom. Nobody. And you think that I'm a kid. I'm a man. I can take care of myself, and I've proven it." And he says that he doesn't care if he dies. He just went off on him. I thought that was a good scene. Very awesome stuff. So then Michonne, Michonne sees herself again as a walker, and she kills it. But I think it was still in her head. But then the walkers start attacking her, so she kills all of them and starts crying afterwards. So then Carlo goes to somebody else's house, and he gets some more food, and then he comes across another walker. This time he struggles with it though. He tries to kill it, but he can't because he runs out of bullets, and he tries to escape through the window, but he can't. And then he hits it off the head with a he hits the walker off the head with a lamp, um, and then he closes the door, and then he gets put it on the roof. Good job. So he realizes that maybe he can't take care of himself as much as he thought. So then he goes back to the house, and Rick starts coming to, and he starts making these moaning sounds like he turned. Um, and Rick says, and Carlos has to shoot him, but Carlos says that he can't bring him, but Carl can't bring himself to do it. Um, and then Rick says, "Carl, don't be scared." And Carl says that he's terrified. We find out that Rick survived, which was a nice surprise. And then Rick starts talking, says and apologizes for Judith, and that nothing's ever going to be the same again. And he finally realizes that Carl is a man. He's not a kid anymore. So I think what's gonna happen now is Carl's gonna get a little bit more freedom. And Mashawn earlier had visited her brother boyfriend's, Mike's house, and says the reason I was able to survive is because I'm strong. And then she finds Rick and Carl and knocks on the door, and Rick looks at Carl and says, "It's for you." And that was the end of the episode. So, not that was my thoughts. I know it's not a very long video, but like I said, there was a lot of downtime this episode. But I thought this was good. But it was the best part was the conflict between Rick and Carl. That was awesome. And I can't wait to see what happens to the next episode. I might have time to review and watch one more.